Hello, and welcome back to the Boston Commune. This is the back half of episode 114, in which comrades Scott, Joe, and I discuss some local happenings with broad implications. A Massachusetts judge sides with the white reactionary faction of the Boston City Council. Former Boston DA turned U.S. Attorney Rachel Rollins resigns in light of ethics violations. A prominent Boston police officer drunkenly fails upward. Someone picks a fight with the wrong Green Line trolley. Adults and children alike struggle with food insecurity throughout the state of Massachusetts. And lastly, an account from the front lines of a Starbucks union showdown. The slams are from Joyzy, if you can believe it. Please rate and review the show on whatever podcatcher you use, and prepare to enjoy Yee Park. Alright, I have some local tales from the commune.
From the commune.
First on the agenda, we got redistricting. So, I don't know.
What a clusterfuck.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't covered local politics in a long enough time that our current listeners might not be aware that there was like
Boston politics, it's a clusterfuck.
Big stink about redistricting.
What else is new?
For the upcoming election cycle, and the white city councilors in Boston were totally trying to like steal seats from the black city councilors. And
yeah,
wasn't one of them trying to like invoke the troubles during the redistricting process?
Yes. But that was like, I feel like it must have been Frank Baker. Nobody else is fucking stupid enough to do that.
Because that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it's probably the worst faith thing that I've ever heard.
These Protestants are trying to ruin our Catholic way of life. It's like,
yeah, that
dude,
was Frank
this
Baker.
This is like Boston in the year 2023.
Yeah.
It was Frank Baker?
Yeah, that was Frank Baker.
Nailed it.
I remember that speech. Jesus Christ.
We have a city councilor from Northern Ireland, so that was... I don't think anybody is that stupid. Maybe he was the only one to be stupid enough to think that would fly.
It's just really weird because like the city councils he was specifically talking about is occupied by someone who is actually Catholic.
Who is that?
Like District 9, I forget her name off the top of my head.
Her name is Liz Breeden. She's actually my representative, but I didn't vote for her, so... District 9?
Oh, aliens and shit.
That's what that movie... I've been trying to remember what that movie was called for a long time. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
I was talking about like the 9th District, but okay.
Yeah, it's also the name of a fucking movie.
There's like a sci-fi horror film called
Jesus
District 9.
Christ, Joe.
Anyway.
Such a fucking loser. Sorry.
Anyway, so the city council drew up a map that more equitably divided up. There have been changes in population in Boston recently where, like, probably thanks to a bunch of development projects and, what's the word?
Gentrification.
Gentrification.
That's the word. Thanks to a lot of development projects that have hastened gentrification in the city of Boston, certain districts have been growing more quickly than others, and...
also growing more bourgeois.
Yes.
Bourgeois!
And racial compositions of the districts have tracked pretty much one-to-one with the class composition. And so...
Yes.
The more populous districts with fewer rich white people in them are currently represented by more progressive city councilors, and the minority of reactionary white city councilors decided to take the new map to court, and somehow a Massachusetts judge ruled that this map indeed is invalid because race played too much of a factor in drawing up the new districts.
Wow.
The whole reason that race is not supposed to play a large factor in districting is to protect the rights of minorities.
Yeah.
White people are not the minorities. It's just like such a weird situation. I don't even know how to explain it really. But basically, somehow, Ed Flynn, Frank Baker, and who's the other like really reactionary?
Aaron Murphy.
They're like the trio of white supremacy in the Boston City Council.
Yeah.
I'm sure they all had played at least a minor part, but I know for a fact Ed Flynn and Frank Baker played considerable parts in lobbying for the new districts to be overturned, and they were. Please forgive me, I forgot to include at-large city councilor Michael Flaherty among the white knights of the council.
Yeah, it's such a weird, like, rule.
Yeah, very, very backwards. Perfectly in line with the attack on Liz Breeden as a racist against fucking Irish people. I don't know. I don't know. I really
being racist towards Catholics.
I really can't like justify. But anyway, that held up in court. So new districts have been drawn up. The white city councilors / conservative city councilors got pretty much exactly what they wanted, if not more. Yeah, this is just like really bad across the board. I'm very disappointed in Massachusetts judiciary.
Yes.
Apparently a report came out today that like our legislature is also like literally the least productive legislative body in the country over the past 4 decades. So that kind of tracks.
What do you mean least productive?
They've only passed 10 laws in the past year.
Damn. Okay. Weird. Okay. So you mean like literally like we don't get anything like actual politics done? That's
yes.
Yeah, because that's something I've been thinking for a while, and like we're getting to a point where like because of the forces of capitalism and just like general like disagreement and like how like all like cultural war has become everything, that like we're getting to an actual point where like we can't do politics anymore. We're like it's just over. We're like everything is just gridlocked now. From this fucking map to like the fucking debt ceiling to like everything. We'll figure out a way how to fix the problem, but it's like then we have to cut all like social spending. So it's like we're fucked either way. Like politics is over. We're in a post-politics world.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
We have no left-wing parties, so yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what that means. Yeah.
But anyway, so there's probably already an alternative map drawn up because in a very short period of time, city councilors drew up a new map. Michelle Wu signed off on it. This is the new, quote, compromise map, unquote. So nothing really changes except the
vibes.
Well,
not even the vibes.
No, the vibes don't change. I don't know. Like everything is a little bit whiter. I think really the goal was to force, I believe, Kendra Lara out of her. They drew the map around her so that she was no longer in her own fucking district.
That's wild.
Yeah, they can do that, though. It's fucked up.
I believe this was on the map that Flaherty introduced. It's kind of hard to suss out the details or get into the what-ifs, but Evan George, friend of the pod, put out a thorough, level-headed analysis of the conservative game theory on his own podcast, Bostopia News, to which I will link in the description. Of course, Kendra Lara responded with her own map, but ultimately the new compromise map reduces the relative voting power of black and brown Bostonians without making Ed Flynn or Frank Baker uncomfortable about their own constituents in Districts 2 and 3, respectively. That's like Southie, Seaport, the white parts of Dorchester. The new districts will go into effect in November. Part of this bigger project in Boston politics to reduce the power of black and progressive legislators was to get Ricardo Arroyo off the redistricting committee. And we have since discovered that Rachel Rollins, who I've heard a lot of criticisms, I think arguably she did some pretty solid things for undocumented immigrants in the city of Boston.
She's city DA?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not anymore, but she had been elevated to the position of
U.S. Attorney.
Yes. Since then, she was found to have intervened pretty significantly in
God damn it.
Ricardo Arroyo's public image after he was accused of sexually assaulting a young woman.
I mean, he was also young at the time.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird.
For context.
It was a prior allegation of sexual assault was dug up and weaponized against him, in a political campaign against him.
Something he had already basically like atoned for, and like that the family was like also like critical of the press bringing it up.
Well, yeah, but his response to it kind of sucked ass. Also, It's just like it's
was
another one of these
all around. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's like another one of these like there are no good guys kind of a thing, which is unfortunate because now Rachel Rollins has resigned. So
fucking Massachusetts politics is fucked up.
Everybody's corrupt, man. It's so disgusting. Jesus.
The fucking beacon of democracy, birthplace of democracy, right here. Joseph.
It totally makes sense that we're like the least productive legislature in the country.
Right here, Joseph, was where they fucking wrote those bills.
Well, I mean, Massachusetts, it's home of the Kennedys. Like, you really don't have to say much more than that.
Yeah, liberal capital. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
The unions here were basically just the Irish mafia.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's not necessarily wrong.
For like 50 years.
I fucking wish, dude. Jesus Christ, we'd actually get things done.
Well, Whitey went senile and ratted on everybody, so...
Well, also it's because they purged the mob from the auto workers.
I think there's still a bunch of, like, cops and probably a bunch of firefighters and shit that are still...
Oh, baby, I want to fucking...
Anyways, speaking of cops...
I want money.
I'm going to read this article. Boston Police Lieutenant John Early arrested Sunday, charged with OUI.
Wasn't he the one who got into that car accident and like tried to blame the person he crashed into?
Yes, I'll get to that.
He tried to blame the person he crashed into?
So, I love this story. This is hilarious. Police Lieutenant John Early, who I guess he was like a 25-year veteran of the Boston Police Department.
Or like John Late.
John lately.
Got me. I don't know why that got me so much. Somebody reported that there was an erratic operator of the motor vehicle. Quote, around 1:14 a.m., a motorist called 911 to report a black Ram pickup truck that had nearly gone off the road several times on Main Street, a public way into Walpole, according to a police report. By the time Walpole police arrived on the scene, the truck was parked partially in the driveway of 2 Jean Road.
Partially in the driveway.
With 2 front wheels on the driveway and 2 wheels on the sidewalk.
It's not bad.
Early seemed confused when the officer approached him to notify him about the 911 call they had received regarding his driving. When the officer asked Early if he had been drinking that night, Early responded using profanity, "Oh God, yeah."
Fuck yeah, dude.
The officer asked for Early's license. However, Early handed the officer a crumpled up $50 scratch ticket that he had in his pocket instead.
Oh my God, dude.
The officer asked Early if they were at his residence, the police report said. Early said it was his girlfriend's, who was home, but couldn't remember her name.
God, yeah. Oh my God, dude. Just thinking of him going, "Oh God, yeah, you've been Oh.
The officer asked Early where he was coming from. Early yelled, "I didn't drive. I was drinking in my backyard."
Oh, we love this guy. I love him.
It sounds like if Dianne Feinstein got drunk and started driving around.
Oh.
Early was placed in handcuffs and taken to the back of a police cruiser as he was being driven to the police station for booking. Early said, quote, "I can't believe it. This is fucked. I was just coming from church."
At 1 a.m.
Oh,
1:14 a.m.
It's a very big service.
I can't believe this motherfucker.
I'm just coming from church. It went from I was just drinking in my backyard to I was just coming from church.
We had to tell the law that he was a man of God, just so, you know.
This sounds bad, I know, and it is. And in fact...
Gets worse? What?
By worse, you mean better.
This is a Boston Globe article published on Thursday. Quote, John Early, a 25-year veteran who made more than $211,000 last year, was arrested in his driveway in Walpole early Sunday and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol and negligent operation of a motor vehicle after a 911 caller reported an erratic driver. Early, 52, is on administrative leave, and the department's Bureau of Professional Standards is investigating the incident. A 2018 arbitrator's decision shows Early was previously fired over a 2015 incident where he crashed over a 2015 incident where he crashed his vehicle into a backhoe around 2:30 a.m. following a snowstorm.
Whoa!
The crash came after Early had patronized 3 bars earlier in the night.
Oh, this is a different guy who crashed into something else, and this is even funnier.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of cops that just get hammered and fucking smash into people.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I think this article actually mentions that.
He crashed into a backhoe after going to 3 bars.
Wow, that quote, that 2015 incident was not the first for Early involving alcohol. According to the arbitrator's decision in 2018, Early, while off-duty, was involved in another incident involving intoxicated conduct. The decision does not offer details of that situation, noting only that it was resolved when Early accepted a 30-day suspension. That discipline did not stop his rise through the department. Remember, this is the Boston Police Department. He was promoted to sergeant in 2008 and lieutenant in 2011. That same year, he was charged with drunken driving, according to a police report filed in Wrentham District Court.
So he just keeps doing it.
This guy just fails upward.
Yeah.
So, like most cops then.
Yeah.
He's like... he's just drunkenly, ascending law enforcement. Man, what a guy.
I just have to reiterate, they found him, like, passed out, hanging out of his car.
Oh my god. And he he did this again recently, you're saying?
Yeah. I'm saying, like, this past time when they found him, he was, like, halfway hanging out of his car.
And when asked for his license, he gives him a crumpled up lottery ticket.
Yes.
Or a scratch ticket.
Maybe it's a winner.
Quote, Early had to brace himself to stand, slurred his words, and was unable to form complete sentences.
Good lord. Oh, man.
Best of the best, man. And I'm not trying to shit on this guy for being, like, an alcoholic. I'm trying to shit on this guy because he's arresting other people for doing this.
Yeah. That's crazy. That, like...
They're not sending their best, folks.
They're not.
It really makes you wonder, like, how much police work has he done drunk? It's not, like, probably a lot.
Yeah, like...
Probably quite a bit, at least.
Realistically, cops are usually the ones committing the crimes.
Yeah.
I'm just getting sloshed all day.
Statistically speaking, law enforcement officers are, like...
really bad at their jobs.
They're some of the most prone to addiction of any career.
I believe it.
Because they can fucking get away with it.
Well, when you have all of this unchecked power, it's nothing to, like, hold you accountable. Are there really ever any consequences for you? Probably not.
We also have free drugs in the evidence room, huh?
Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
Who's going to complain, right? If you charge a guy who's got 2 ounces of coke, and by the time he gets to trial, it's gone down to 1 ounce of coke. You know what I mean?
Woo!
It disappeared.
It's a win-win.
Under unknown circumstances.
Woo!
So...
We got soda, OJ, purple stuff, and 2 kinds of Sunny D. 2 kinds.
But imagine those 2 kinds of Sunny D are drugs. And imagine the refrigerator that they opened was a drug locker.
So to cap off that story, fuck the police.
Fuck them.
They aren't better. They aren't better than us. They don't deserve to make as much money as they do. And
no, they really don't, because they're usually sleeping most of the time.
The reason he got off so many times was because his union went to bat for him, which, again, there's so many reasons to hate cops, but one of them is because
I need a reason.
They have turned union into a dirty word.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yes. It's fucking disgusting. It's disgusting.
And I have one more brief story.
He needs a reason. Oh,
this was directly from Universal Hub.
Universal. Sorry.
Headline reads, Man tries kicking moving trolley at North Station, loses balance, falls under trolley, dies. In a statement, police say an adult male appeared to have missed a boarding trolley he apparently sought to enter. As the Green Line trolley was departing the station, outbound toward Medford Tufts, the male proceeded in the direction of the moving trolley and kicked the side thereof. At this point, the male lost his balance and fell under the trolley as it was in motion departing the station. The male has been pronounced deceased as a result of injuries sustained. And yes, you're going to accuse me of victim blaming.
It kind of sounds like it was his fault.
I mean, I have been fucked many a time, running up to the green line with my arms extended in a gesture of, what the fuck, why did you close the doors in my face? I've been very tempted to bang on the window, to kick the train, but I haven't done it because it's not the train's fault. It's not the operator's fault, because think about it, if he waits for you to get on the train, you're making everybody else late. So I get it. I understand needing to be on time. If everybody was on time, we wouldn't have the issues that we do with the train not being on time. So I think in conclusion, we can say,
don't kick the trains because the trains will kick you back.
Yeah, it is an example of
green line standing its ground.
Locomotive justice. Yeah,
stand your ground laws
we
for
are
locomotives.
Pro train podcast, and it does sadden me to hear of human untrained violence.
It was self-defense.
Luckily, I think the train is going to be okay.
God, I'm going to regret this segment.
Why?
I've had great fun on this segment.
This is fucking disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. Oh, it's just me then. Okay.
What? I've had plenty of fun too.
I was making a joke.
Thank you, Joe.
Jesse, how you doing?
I'm good.
How you holding up? I love it.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine.
I also forgot to mention the thing about the food insecurity in mass. And that also kind of ties into the debt limit.
Yeah, talk about it, loser. No.
So, the Greater Boston Food Bank came out with a report today, and about a third of the state's population is struggling with food insecurity.
I believe that, and that sucks. You hate to hear it.
20% of the state's population has very low food security, meaning their eating patterns are disrupted for a prolonged period, and more than a third of households said that a child in their family has skipped a meal or several in the past 12 months due to lack of food.
Yeah, dude. It's disgusting, man.
Yeah.
Like,
This
genuinely.
is fucking disgusting. It's disgusting.
Sorry.
But actually, especially in Massachusetts, where the quality of the living standard is ostensibly so much higher.
Yeah.
This doesn't make, logic. Where's the logic?
I agree.
Also cuts very much across racial lines, as overall food insecurity in 2022 is at 33% among Hispanic families. That figure was 61% suffering through food insecurity, 50% among Black families, 29% among Asians, 28% among white families.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. This state is fucked, man.
Among children, child food insecurity is at 36%.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, say that. What percent?
36%
Wow.
of children in this state are food insecure.
Yeah, that's fucked. That's.
Hispanic families that have a child in the household, 53% are food insecure. In an LGBTQ household with at least one child in the household, 57% are food insecure.
Yeah, honestly, that all after having done work for Austin Brighton Mutual Aid, almost all of the people that reached out to us were Hispanic families with children.
And 45% of LGBTQ plus adults without children, that's 45% of them are food insecure in Massachusetts.
Yes, and when I say almost all, the remainder of the people that reached out to us were unhoused, queer, and trans people.
Central and Western Mass is suffering greater food insecurity than Eastern Mass. Central Mass is suffering 41% food insecurity. 39% of Western Mass residents suffer from food insecurity. 41% of insecure respondents said they sold personal property to afford produce, and 30% watered down food or infant formula for children among severe shortage that began last year.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And on top of this, you know how in April I wouldn't shut the fuck up about how food stamps were being cut across the country. Boosted food stamp benefits from the COVID relief programs led to a statewide average increase in Massachusetts of $151.46 each month per household who are on SNAP. But that extra $151 a month, that went away in April when Biden administration declared the public health emergency over. And so now about 60% of people who are on SNAP in Massachusetts reported that they would need $100 or more each week to meet their household's food needs. But it does not provide enough anymore now that the expanded SNAP benefits have been taken away. So among people who are already on SNAP, like adults who are already on SNAP, last year, 56% of them still reported that they were food insecure despite already being on food stamps.
Fucked.
Joe, you said Central and Western Mass. Like, Worcester is seeing pretty severe poverty right now. I mean, they have been.
I mean, more than they have been in the past, because that part of the state has always been kind of impoverished, but, like, it's just getting worse.
Yeah.
60% of households are already on SNAP who have a child in the household are suffering from consistent food insecurity. Among LGBTQ people who are on SNAP, that's like 62%. Among Hispanic households, it's like 56%. 53% among Black households who are already enrolled in SNAP. 50% among white people. It's just pretty much SNAP is underfunded, the rent is too goddamn high, and people are being left to starve, basically.
Rent's too damn high.
I had the same. But I kept it in. I
kept it in.
I did.
He's the better man.
I suppressed the urge.
Can't find a better man.
It's time to make the landlords afraid again. That is the solution to the problem.
It's time to bring out Mao, the ghost of Mao.
Yes.
Yeah, we love it. Woo! Give me a second. And then we'll talk about my thing.
I'm not judging. I'm just, enjoying the fact that we are all having a good time.
Relatively speaking, I mean, talking about, like, children starving is...
Well, I meant, like, we're vibing here. Despite, all the suffering and misery that we're talking about.
We're having as much fun as one can have when discussing the starvation of
them kids,
children of color.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Jesse did a better job of articulating that.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Good Lord.
He's serious.
Me?
Yeah, don't listen to him. He loves poverty.
I hate it. I think it's bad. I think everybody,
Poverty is exhausting.
Poverty.
It sucks dick. Yeah, I hate it. Fuck poverty.
I'm still waiting for the medical leave money that the state owes me, because for some reason they decided to send it in the form of a check.
By the way, donate to Warm Up Boston. Sorry, Joe, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. I'm just complaining about being poor.
Donate to Warm Up Boston. Donate to Joe's.
Donate to Joe.
Joe.
Become a patron. Feed Joe.
Feed Joe. Donate to his Venmo. No. I can't find the fuck them kids, Michael Jordan.
Oh wait, he didn't actually say that on a video, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we're going long, but I got even something more. So last week we had what was an official legal bargaining session with the Starbucks union and their lawyers. We took a ULP strike for the day, which is an unfair labor practices strike for the day. Which, that's what we had to do to, cover ourselves so that we wouldn't be fired or that the day wouldn't count against us and that we could be reimbursed for the pay and stuff. But yeah, we all went. We got up at 5:30 in the morning, folks, quite early.
Early in the morning.
Damn early in the morning. Got up. Freaking kids. Actually, I think it might have been one of the older.
Woke up in the morning.
Oh, we're going to do Sublime? All right.
Strike at the Starbucks store.
Basically, yeah. No, but yeah, we got...
I don't want to work no more.
That's not really the issue. But anyways, yeah, we got in a van. We drove up to Leominster. Yeah, Leominster. And while we were driving up there...
Nowhere.
Yeah, it's the middle of fucking nowhere. It really is. It really is. We were we were doing our bargaining session at a Holiday Inn. Or no, it wasn't a Holiday Inn. What the fuck was it? It was like a It was a Two Trees. It was like a Hilton. It was like some Hilton like imprint or whatever. And all the fucking conference rooms were named after what? What?
It's called the Doubletree. It was said Two Trees.
Yeah, the Doubletree. The Two Trees.
No, I know what he's talking about, but it's just, like, I get what Jess is saying.
The Two Trees.
That's so funny.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, we went. It was a Doubletree.
Funny.
It's a Doubletree in Leominster, Massachusetts, which was 15 minutes away from the store that was in Gardner, Massachusetts. Which I didn't.
That's even further in the middle of nowhere.
I know, right? But no, here's the thing: it's like the fucking hotel that we were at. First of all the conference rooms were named after different composers. We were in the Hammerstein. The Rogers was right next to us, and we were in the Hammerstein room. But there was like Bach and all these different composers that are not coming to mind at the moment.
Mozart, perhaps.
I think I saw Mozart. It was a little bit more like I was surprised that there was a Rogers and Hammerstein, because like a lot of the other composers were more like, but there was like Irving Berlin and stuff. So like I don't know. But anyways. But like, Joe, to get to your point that, like, yeah, the place really was in the middle of nowhere. Like, it was like a hotel, and then it was just like a strip of highway, and like a couple of shops here and there, and that was like it. It was fucking like, it was really was like the middle of fucking nowhere. It was so strange. Which, like, kind of like, yeah, I feel bad for like people who, like, the thing is, like, that is what most of America is like. That's the weird truth of it. But it's like, it feels so strange when you're there. As a person who lives in a city, like, it feels so strange to be in an area that's so, like, open and so, like, everything's so spaced out, and you couldn't survive without a car. Like, that's the main thing. That's the main contention that I have with most of America, is that you can't survive in most of America without a car, and that's, like, bullshit.
It genuinely freaks me out, like, when I visit, you know, my mom and even, like, they have public transit, but just being in the burbs, dude, I feel like everyone is dead.
Oh, believe me,
it's a strange
living
experience.
where I do makes me feel that way about like 30% of the time. I just try not to think about it.
It's just weird cognitive dissonance, because it's like I'm supposed to feel at peace, you know, because I don't have that like background city noise, but it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels ominous to me. I feel like I'm trapped.
Yeah, it really does sometimes.
That's nice.
Up here.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So you were trapped in Leominster.
What?
At the Two Tree Hotel.
To a small degree, yeah. It's the Doubletree.
With a Quiznos.
Is it called the Doubletree?
Yes, it's called the Doubletree.
Yes, but it's still hilarious unto itself.
The Two Tree.
So you were trapped at the Two Tree with the Quiznos and a Christmas tree shops.
There's no Quiznos there. Dude, if there's a Quiznos there, that would be awesome. There was no Quiznos there. We did go to the small little Mexican place and got burritos during the break, and like it was one of the fucking best burritos I've had. Anyways, go to that burrito place in Leominster if you're in Leominster, which why the fuck would you be? But anyways,
in which case we apologize.
Yeah, we have like one or two like actual listeners in Leominster, and they're like, these motherfuckers, and they cancel, they like stop following us on their various apps, and I'm saying no, don't do it. I love you, and I'm sorry.
If you live in Leominster, you hate it. Admit it.
But yeah, so
I've been to
don't lie to
Leominster.
yourself.
It is very weird.
We all showed up to the hotel at like 8:30. Fuck no, like earlier than that. Maybe like 8:15, maybe even 8 o'clock. But anyways, like there was the lawyer there. We got whatever breakfast that we could find in the hotel lobby. They had a little like kitchenette kind of place where you could make coffee or like cook yourself some food or whatever, and then you would have to pay for it at the front desk. It was so fucking awkward. But the coffee was free, so hey, cool. But
it's all that matters.
Our conference room was in the very back of the hall, so like we had to go down this fucking long ass hall to get there. And it was one of the smaller, respectfully, one of the smaller conference rooms, which is fine because they didn't really expect that many people. What I've heard is that typically the turnout to these things nationally has been maybe like anywhere to like 6 to 11, as we call the employees of Starbucks partners. Whereas like we had like at least like 20 people. So like we had like a good strong group with us. And what we were doing was we were bargaining in favor of the Gardner store. I already mentioned this. We were bargaining for the Gardner store, which was about 15 minutes away from the actual location. And the thing is, the first kerfuffle that happened is we got there, around 8 o'clock. We got whatever food we can find. And then what happened is, like, we had a little, like, powwow in the actual, like, conference room, And basically how it was set up is, like, there was, like, a table that was, like, at the front of the room. And then there was all these other tables that were facing that table. So, like, the lawyers were sat at that table and, like, all the partners sat at the other tables, basically. And we were facing each other. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. But we had a little, like, discussion about how we were going to, like, organize things and how we were going to, like, talk about things. And there was literally like a front line of tables where, like, all the people who are going to speak, all the, like, the union representatives who, like, actually had, like, stories and, like, had, like, they were going over the actual, like, what was actually, like, the language in the actual proposals and stuff, which, like, our proposal, the packet is, like, I don't even know. Let me open up the PDF. We have 25 articles, and it is 20 pages in total. So it's a lot of stuff, and it gets really, really into, like, the nitty gritty. And we went over that a little bit, just had, like, a vibe,
Vibe sesh.
I remember the
vibe sesh. Charge the vibe sesh. Yeah. What, Joe?
I remember when I voted on the 2018 Teamsters contract at UPS, and that was like a 60-page proposal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was mostly, like, bad. It was very obvious that we were being fucked over. In the National Union, under, like, the old guard, like, very, like, pro-business at the time.
Yeah.
It
Terrible.
was literally, like, trying to force, like, tiered employment onto us for the company.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Which is why it was a huge deal when, like, O'Brien won president of the Teamsters Union last year, because, like, he's much more militant than the previous regime.
60-page, damn. No, like,
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
those proposals are always, like, hard to read.
Was that proposal from the company or from the union itself?
It was what they negotiated.
Oh,
and
okay.
they wanted us to vote on it.
So it was an actual contract then?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little different. Here's the thing, is UPS already has a union, and, like, they already have union protections, whereas, like, we're fighting for, like, the basic things, like, literal, like,
Used to be, like, recognized.
literally, yeah, like, boiler, like, the lawyer that we had, I actually felt pretty good about him. Like, he seemed, like, very into it, and I appreciated that, and, like, what else could I ask for? But he was basically explaining that, like, nothing in the proposal is too outlandish or too, like, there might be some things here or there that, like, maybe there's, like, finer points that you could say, like, whatever. But, like, all of this, like, just any business would look at this and be like, yeah, that's fine. You should have these things because they're just basic things, you know?
These track with human rights to me.
Yeah, basically, these are just basic worker rights. But because it's like, because we're literally proposing it for the first time ever, Starbucks is like, what the fuck do you want? No. And so,
Yeah, they're going to fight you tooth and nail.
Basically, and here's the first thing is supposedly they were the ones who made this meeting. They were the ones who chose the location, and they were the ones who chose the time of 9 a.m. But they were the ones who didn't show up until 11.
Yeah,
so that's the first wrinkle.
Wow.
In the morning, is they don't show up until 11.
Dude, that's like...
Yeah, that's like a stall tactic to, like, throw you off.
Even more than that, it's like...
Yeah, I'll get into stall tactics.
That's like weird, passive-aggressive, like, you're not worth our time.
Yeah, that's
Like, you're not worth our punctuality. Like, you gotta be here, you gotta fucking wait for us.
Yeah, it's like the passive-aggressive, like, psychological
Yeah.
Precisely. And, like, so they don't show up until fucking 11. And, like, there's, like, this whole, like, debate over, like, who made the meeting and what time was it scheduled at. And they keep saying that, like, we made the meeting and that, like, we scheduled it at 11 and we insisted that they made the meeting, you know? And it's like, I think, like, there is some legalese to this where, like, I think, like, we aren't the ones who can make the meeting. I think they are the ones who, like, can only make the meeting, but, like...
Then why do they insist that you make the meeting? It's like, you have to drag your ass out all the way to Leominster at, like, 9 in the morning. Well, that was clearly not your idea.
I mean, we don't, but, like, the store that was bargaining was, like, fucking, like, local. But, like, anyways, we were there for strength's sake. But, like, they don't show up till fucking 11.
But you get what I mean. It's like, it's clearly not the workers' choice to be up that early in the morning.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, it's 9 in the morning. I mean, like, I had to get up early because I'm driving the van up there, but, like, it was 9.
I think the basic point is that because you guys aren't unionized yet, you don't have the power to, like you don't call the shots.
Yeah, sorry. We both got stuck in the weeds there. Anyways, yeah. But, like...
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. It was fine. It's fine. No, but, like, so, like, how do I describe how it went down? Basically, like, it starts with, like, a roll call where we all have to, like, fucking say our names and our pronouns, which was fucking pointless as shit. Like, I kept thinking, like, are we gonna do, like, a land acknowledgement before this? Like, what the fuck? And, like, we had to do our pronouns, but we also legally had to say that we were part of the gardener store bargaining committee, because if we didn't say that, they could get, like, fucking up our asses like Joe just did about that shit. Like, what, like, they could do what, like, Joe and I just did and get, like, so in the goddamn weeds about everything. And they kind of did throughout most of it. But, like, they went through everybody and, like, they kept saying, like, oh, can you slow down? When anybody would say their name, it's like, oh, how do you spell that? Like, every little way to, like, prolong this process of asking people their fucking names, you know? Any way they could prolong the process, they found that. And then basically, like, after we did that, they tried to do this thing where they wanted us to agree to, like, ground rules, certain, like, niceties. You know, basically, like, treat them with deference and shit and, like, don't, like, get, like, heated and stuff. And it was like...
We're taking time out of our busy corporate schedules
you know, it's
to
funny,
meet
the
with
National
you.
Labor Relations Board actually just approved a rule that allows, like, in union negotiations, it does allow, like, the people bargaining for the unions to, like, start swearing, hurling obscenities at, like, the company they're bargaining with.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
But that's like the psychological bullshit, dude. Like, that's, you know, union busting. Union busting is illegal, but, like, there's a lot of ways that you can passively insinuate things that sound like laws, but they're not.
Something that I forgot to mention is that when they did their roll call, when they were saying their names, the woman, the actual Starbucks human resources person who was arguing for Starbucks, it was her, a lawyer, who did most of the talking, and then the lawyer's, like, intern who was taking all the notes. During their roll call, when they were saying their names, they asked what was her pronouns, and she goes, I don't use any pronouns. Yes! Thank you. Half of the fucking room started to snicker. Because it's like, what the fuck?
I am a robot, an animatronic robot that does HR stuff for the Starbucks Incorporated.
Do not refer to me.
Corporation.
Just don't talk about me or to me.
Don't use pronouns. Don't speak good either. You know, it's like, what? Like, I don't use any pronouns. Like, okay. It was so fucking funny. But yeah, then they wanted us to agree to these fucking arbitrary ground rules about, you know,
don't swear, don't give blah, blah, blah. Like,
and we were like, no,
we don't want our feelings to be hurt.
Basically, like, don't hurt our feelings or we'll, like, you know. And it's like, okay, here's the thing. I can agree with let's do this in good faith. Like, if you're willing to do this in good faith, I'm willing to do this in good faith. Like, I'm willing to agree to that. Anything beyond that, go fuck yourself, you know? Basically, that was our say. That was what we said. We didn't say go fuck yourself, but we said, like, yeah, we will argue in good faith if you argue in good faith. That's it. That's all we'll agree to. But they tried to push the ground rules thing for at least fucking 10 minutes, and they wouldn't move on. Fucking yes. More of these fucking prolonging. Why? Stop posting notes. More of these fucking prolonging. It's fine. More of these fucking prolonging, like, tactics.
I was just putting that there because that was the thing I was referencing.
What is that?
About how the Labor Relations Board is now letting union representatives, like, explicitly use, like, profanity directed at management during union negotiations.
Oh, fuck. In a landmark May Day ruling, call what is that? Elstormers? The
Elastomers.
Elastomers. That's a cool word. The National Labor Relations Board restores the right of union representatives to use heated language, including profanity during arguments with management. That's cool. That's rad. It's like, okay, why was that a fucking rule to begin with? Isn't that fucking, like, policing? Isn't that, like, literally, like, free speech? You know?
Here's what I think.
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
Here's what I think is happening. I think what they're trying to do is they're creating arbitrary rules of conversation. It It absolves them of the responsibility to continue participating in the conversation to the uninitiated. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you believe, like, oh, I broke the rules, then you're going to be less likely to continue to try and bargain.
And also,
even if those rules don't actually mean anything or exist. But since if you guys haven't even been recognized as a union yet,
yeah,
then like you probably haven't all been, trained for like education on what is legally required of you, basically preying on the fact that you guys weren't as well educated as like a veteran, union organizer would be.
Oh yeah, and they were definitely trying to like trip us up when it came to like, but like we started to get actually into like the proposals and stuff, and basically like a lot of the proposals are just basically like give the union a representative on the board of directors, strengthen employee rights, ensure like a level of respect and dignity. We actually couldn't really get into pay. We kind of ended up arguing for like the strength and the rights of the union itself mostly, and also like how we want like management to treat the employment, and it came down a lot to like harassment, but like also there's a big problem with like a lot of stores don't allow union paraphernalia to be displayed in any way, and so like we had to argue for like simple bullshit like we need to allow for bulletin board space for like union stuff. We need to allow partners to wear like buttons and shit that say they're on the union and stuff. Because like people get like write-ups and stuff for that shit, which is ridiculous. Because like we don't have any protections. Like they can just like get rid of us for whatever. There was a lot of points we tried more obviously to get into, but because they got there so late, like the first session had to end around like 12:30.
God damn, bro.
Yeah, and then like we had to get food, but then our food took too long, and so when we got back, we mostly talked about discrimination, and that's when things got really like the first part wasn't great, but the thing is like the lawyer said like it didn't get as out of hand. It was much more controlled. It was much more mannered than what he had seen up to that point. That like most of the bargainings hadn't gone that well, and like it was a very strong union in the front row, like everybody who was speaking, they were all in like lockstep. It was very like it was just very good performance, and the lawyer was kind of impressed by that, and they hadn't gone that well up to that point. And then the second half happened, and that's when we started to talk about like discrimination and how prevalent, and like the first half was more like we're getting into the nitty-gritty of like this is what we want, this is what we're literally able to bargain for today, because we weren't allowed to bargain for things like wages and stuff, but we could argue for like dress code and like the other things, but then the second half became like more testimonial, more about like the experiences that we've gone through at the store and more of the harassment that we've faced, and that's when things got really uncomfortable is the word.
Uncomfortable for you, or uncomfortable for like the Starbucks
uncomfortable
owners?
For like everybody, and like really like it was a truly like upsetting experience, and like trigger warnings and all that shit. There was a lot of discussion of like sexual harassment that had happened, and like management that had been predatory but bigoted and harassing, and that had only been like shifted around the company and not really like fired or any way or disciplined in any way. And like that's when the lawyer became very like he reached his final, like not his final form, but he moved closer to it, where like basically this is what I said on the Discord, is that like you haven't in the room full of people, like a person is giving this testimony about like the sexual assault that they've gone through, and then the lawyer is just like, well, I don't believe you, and it's like you don't know how that feels until you're in the room with that, and it's just like so it sucks. It was like truly a disparaging, like just truly like kind of like soul crushing experience, at least for that half of it. And like how I put it is by the end of it, with all of that shit, actually, like before I'll get into my feelings, like that's when things got like really like the like tension in the room got very heated, and like that's when like yelling and like profanity kind of did get thrown around and stuff. And that's when like basically the lawyer, like they all just like kind of just walked out. Like the lawyers just kind of were like, okay, fine, like shut down, and then they just kind of walked out. And that's kind of how it ended. So like bullshit all around. I forgot one funny point is that like when we were arguing dress code, they were arguing about like why we can't have like personalized things is that like, well, someone might find it offensive, and it's like we're like, okay, like that's not really our problem. But like the Starbucks woman used the example of like
the Starbucks woman with no pronouns.
No, it was a weird argument. Like I kind of forget why. Basically, she was arguing like, well, what if someone finds the color purple offensive? And it's like, all right, whatever. But her hair was dyed violet, and it's like, what? So it's like someone literally has like fucking purple on the brain. It was just a weird.
What if I'm offended by myself?
Yeah, it's just like, who cares? Like, but like, it's no, seriously, corporate America. It's not our problem if someone's offended by like our personal expression. Like that's their problem.
Every time I go into Dunkin' Donuts, I'm offended by the color scheme. But what am I gonna do about it, dude?
It's so browns and oranges. It's awful.
Yeah, brown, purple, orange, shit that does not go together, bro.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, that lawyers just kind of walked out, and like how I felt about it is at the end of the day, like their attitude and the whole experience in general, from them showing up late to like how they were just like
complete fucking dicks
in the second half of the bargaining, that like I was annoyed into like actually being very like energized towards like union activity, basically, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's called being radicalized.
Yeah,
that's like a common experience, I think.
I was so fucking like pissed off at the end of the day that I'm just like, oh, like fuck these guys. Like you got to do one of those, folks. If you're
oh, absolutely.
If you're trying to unionize your workplace, fucking do it. You got to do that shit. It's a hell of an experience. Our lawyer, the union lawyer, basically said like, "Hey, don't expect anything." We're like, "Yeah, no, we know. This is gonna suck.
This is gonna be like taking a bath of acid."
And it was, but like it was an experience I would recommend because it truly, like you said,
will fuel you.
Yeah, it's basically like, yeah, no, exactly, like you said, Jesse, and like Joe, you just said, like it's a hell of an experience. It's definitely radicalizing, and it's like, fuck, man, I would recommend it. I don't know. I would recommend you get a union. America,
I experienced that.
United States. What's that at the beginning of your name? UPS is about to go on strike, and that's gonna be dope if they do.
It is awesome.
Don't order anything for a while. Oh God! All right.
I don't think UPS. Well, never mind.
UPS delivers a lot of things. What are you saying? Anyways, use FedEx or.
Well, if UPS goes on strike, that's going to put strain on the post office and the other logistics companies, because UPS is like the second largest behind only the post office.
Well, what I was going to say is companies like Amazon, they contract like carriers that are even more exploitative than they are.
Yeah.
No, I know.
To like finish out the routes. Like it is almost always USPS, but if there's somebody bridging that gap, it's like ABC Delivery Company number 12, which is still Amazon, but they have to have a different name for like Shell LLC purposes,
Yeah.
But there are some things that UPS does that Amazon doesn't have any foothold in, which is like international like shipping stuff from like the US to like Europe and shit.
You can't ship your chickens through the.
Oh,
I heard that about you can't get your chicks through the public companies.
So basically what would happen if a UPS strike did happen is that a sizable chunk of like commerce in the United States would be cut off from like basically the rest of the world.
That's rad.
It is.
Let's wrap this up. My name is Scott.
This will be another two-parter, by the way.
Yeah.
Fucking
hell yeah. My name is Scott. Hit me on the flip side. Sweaty Wife, Twitch and Instagram. Joe.
Tell it like it is.
I am Joe. I talk a lot about politics, baseball, and history. Mainly the latter two.
History. Politics, baseball, history. Politics, baseball, history. He's a mystery.
And Jesse.
And his name is Jesse.
And his name is Jesse.
He is named Jesse.
And you can find my music on soundcloud.com/contingence Boston, CONTINGENCE Boston. I've been having a very difficult time being creative lately. I feel bad. I was going to make my mom a Mother's Day /birthday song, and I I just been like literally just feeling too shitty to do it. But I don't know. There is no but. It's just this is a sad story that I just told. I do want to plug Warm Up Boston. I will put a link in the description, and I have a slam recommendation this evening. And
slam it up.
It's not your typical slam. In fact, it's almost like ironic.
Too good?
No, it's like ironically cringe compared to like my normal recommendations.
Ironically cringe.
Your slam recommendation is... This band is from the middle of nowhere in buttfuck, New Jersey. I hate this soundboard thing. Hold on. Why is it doing that?
What?
All right, I have to start.
What?
Your slam recommendation is...
Why is it doing that? Awesome.
Although it like has a mind of its own. It's an album entitled Malevolent Thoughts of a Hastened Extinction.
Oh shit. Pretty good actually.
The artist is named Cognitive. They're from a town called Jobstown, New Jersey.
They've made the best of it.
It's like the most unremarkable county in the United States.
Poor place.
Like, I looked it up on Wikipedia, and there weren't any actual like centers of like population centers. They just had some unincorporated communities and shit. This breakdown gets me really hard, so I wanted to share it.
Oh boy.
I don't know, they're kind of unique. Technical, brutal deathcore, brutal death metal, kind of a fusion between the two. Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us at Epic Incredulity. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, but more importantly, on Patreon, where you can find the second half of our last episode where Joe went on his rant about Russia.
Love to hear it.
It wasn't really a rant. Like, it was a... It was a comprehensive retelling of the Russo-Ukrainian conflict from the Soviet era up until present day. There's a lot of white nationalism and bad U.S. foreign policy wrapped up into it. I mean, it was really like totally solid until the very end, where Scott and I felt very uncomfortable about saying anything nice about Putin.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
So we didn't. We didn't say anything nice about him.
That is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The point of the exercise, not to say like Putin's good, just, point out the broader history, and also like right now Ukraine is kind of cringe as fuck. At least their government is.
Yeah, man, it does. I'll agree with that at least. Okay. Yeah. Good Lord. At least I make him laugh.
I'm enjoying how uncomfortable you still are.
I don't know. I literally would agree with that. Like, come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, they're all bad,
for the
folks.
sound drop?
Everybody's
No, we're not looking for any sound drops.
Everybody sucks,
son of
man.
a bitch.
Just remember,
Gotta have them ribs.
Putin's whole
Pussy
family
too.
was killed by Nazis, so...
Jesus,
Yeah.
everybody's killed by fucking Nazis.
This is fucking disgusting. It's disgusting.
Anyways, every week we say but tankto. That's the epoch.
Tankto.
I'm tired. I need to eat something. Love you guys.
Love you
All right.
too.
Do.
Do.
I am gay. I am disabled.
I love it. Cuomo is just, He's a man for all seasons, really.
I gotta get the big gay ice cream sound drop too.
Oh, man. I'm proud of him.
I'm not, bro.
All right, can we end this, please?